At the starting, we see gracious war breaks out between the government who bolsters the unification and a psychological militant organization who is against it. So what precisely causes the war? How will the government handle it? Let's discover it out in 2024. An incredible war over domain breaks out among the capable nations. To manage with the war, South and North Korea concur to reunify. Be that as it may, the other nations see this as a danger and force financial sanctions on the reunified Korea. The sanctions decline the country's economy and allow birth to a fear-based oppressor organization named sect, whose objective is to break the get-together. They are prepared with incredible numbers and weaponry, which inconveniences the police. The government shaped extraordinary unit to battle the sect. In any case, a wicked Friday happened when the extraordinary unit murdered 15 guiltless young ladies amid an operation. The occurrence prompted see among the individuals and frequented the unit with blame. In spite of the condition, the unit is held to keep the faction in check. In addition, they have to be fight, not as it were the faction, but to the Open Security Division who needs to require over the country security 5 a long time. Afterward, the faction utilizes a revolt to wreak destruction. They utilize capable bombs and programmed rifles to overpower the police. Whereas the unit arrives at the scene and makes the faction drop back in spite of their exertion, the unit chases them down to their final fort with Jung as their field pioneer. On the other hand, the faction is planning blameless children to commit suicide bombarding. After realizing that the unit is close, they attempt to elude through the water the two restricting parties at long last meet, and a gunfight breaks out. The unit guards themselves easily with their uncommon armor and wipes them out inside minutes. On the other hand, Jung is searching for the remaining individuals, but finds an blameless young lady in step. Reminded of his blame, he puts down his weapon. Be that as it may, the young lady alarms and closes up, blowing herself up. The occurrence declines. The unit's notoriety advance, and they're suspended for 4 weeks. The unit's chief preparing officer considers that the suspension is done by the Open Security Division and decides to examine assist. In the meantime, Jung meets Han, an ex-part of the unit who got to be a tall positioning officer within the office. Han gives him the blameless girl's journal and inquires him to return it to her family, particularly her more seasoned sister named Y. In any case, he doesn't intellect it and proceeds to experience thorough preparing. In spite of his exertion, he cannot center since he is shadowed by his blame. So he chooses to meet Y that night. Jung feels blameworthy to begin with, but to his shock Y doesn't abhor him for her sisters passing on their way domestic the conclusion up, creating sentiments towards one another after isolating Y. He doesn't go domestic but meets Han in step. Turns out and orders Yang to approach Jung and draw him into a trap. In trade, he will fund her sickly brother's restorative operation. The arrange is specifically administered by the department's executive who presumes that Jung may be a part of the Wolf Brigade, a bunch inside the extraordinary unit. Who needs to ensure the unit's objective? The Wolf Brigade is rumored to have murdered degenerate people and killed the unit's restricting parties. Another day, a part of the unit stalks Mi Kung, who could be a order part. There she stands up to Y for her disloyalty of getting to be the department spy. Turns out he is additionally a faction part, and she clarifies that she got to be the division spy to pay her brother's restorative bills. In spite of her words, Meek Young doesn't accept Y and takes off upon taking off. She realizes that she's being taken after and tries to flee. Be that as it may, the unit part overwhelms her and captures her within the cross-examination room. Chief clarifies that the order has been supported by the division to mix chaos and thrust the extraordinary unit to the edge. Chief moreover influences her to contrive against the faction to which she concurs, as it were in case she gets an used character after the operation. In the meantime, Jung is assembly Young. For the moment the office has bugged his phone and sends out a group to capture him. In spite of realizing the circumstance, he calmly takes after the diversion and acts as on the off chance that everything's typical. He goes to the lavatory and prepares herself to trap Jung. As Han has arranged, Han too gave her a following gadget to guarantee her security. In spite of the situation, Meek Kung all of a sudden stands up to Y and clears out her impedances. Obstructs the arrange and Jung effortlessly overwhelms the group. The incredible number of the department's group doesn't influence Jung's victory in battling back. He moreover spares Y who is chased by the division for falling flat. The mission, when they're almost to take off a weaponized ramble, comes and shoots at them. Be that as it may, Jung effortlessly handles the ramble as well, and they elude effectively. They run to the stopping part and take a car to run absent. When they're almost to elude, Han shows up and crashes into them. Han inquires him to yield, but Jung decreases. He moreover uncovers that he knows all along that Yon. He is Han's spy and they're conspiring to trap him. Han is startled and lets his watch down, so Jung is able to elude. After the occasion, Chief orders Jung to turn Y, and he and Jung feel sorry for her and offers her to escape and spare herself. Be that as it may, she decays since there's no secure put for her. After investing a few time together Jung, he begins to lament her choice of diluting Jung. She at last falls for him and inquires him to run absent together. Jung doesn't react after, whereas Chief calls Jung to reaffirm that he must be turned in hearing that why he chooses to turn on the following gadget that Han gave her. Han tracks her and conveys the extraordinary ops group to capture Jung. Once more why he laments activity of catching Jung and appears him the following gadget. Be that as it may, Jung calmly proceeds his arrange to meet Chief. At that point, Chief arrives at the scene and uncovers that he has been utilizing Jung. He to trap the division. He moreover affirms that Jung is really one of the Wolf Brigade who needs to kill the basement inside the office. Jung is at that point prepared with the extraordinary armor and intentionally brings the following gadget with him to draw the adversaries one by one. The groups are taken down by Jung. He murders them quickly and without benevolence. As a final resort, Han sends the uncommon ops and enters the battle. They are prepared with overwhelming weapons that are more progressed than the other team's weaponry in spite of their hardware. Jung doesn't indeed recoil and battles back. He proceeds to slaughter the uncommon ops until Han is the, as it were, one cleared out. A shootout happens between Jung and Han coming about in. Han being gravely harmed. He tries to escape, but meets a dead conclusion along the way. Jung offers him to be spared, but Han decays and shoots Jung in step. As a result, he counters and shoots Han to passing. At last, the department's constraint is wiped out by the Wolf Brigade. At that point, he is brought by Chief to be executed. After the planning, Jung all of a sudden shows up to spare her and tries to conversation Chief out of it. Seeing his disciples' non-compliance, he hands the weapon over to Jung and orders him to commence the execution. He inquires why she didn't escape when she had the chance, and she says that she adores him and she, as it were, needs to run absent together. On the other hand, Chief listens that the execution hasn't been commenced. He is infuriated and stands up to Jung for his unfaithfulness. The battle between two Wolf Brigade is furious and tense since both of them are well prepared and prepared with extraordinary gear. The battle closes when Jung chooses to desert the extraordinary unit due to Chief's cold-hearted orders. Within the conclusion, the division outrage is brought to open and the executive is captured by the police. North and South Korea will too hold a summit to continue the reunification conversation. In the meantime, they and his brother escape to another, put to live a serene life together, and the movie ends here.